Welcome to Mallet and Michelle. I am Michelle Lewis, Queen of Sass, and this is Steve Mallet, Mr. Rule Follower. Together, we keep it real.
Are we really live, though?
Argument at a time. Yes, we are. And then we also have Carlisle Kennedy joining us
Carlisle Kennedy
today.
is joining us in the studio.
Sure. But I just want to say one quick note. I want to dedicate this show to the late, great Marshall Kirkendall.
Yes.
Wonderful man. We actually had him scheduled to come on in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
he said, "Don't make me wait that long. You don't know if I'll be around that long."
he said
he said that?
He said to me, he said, "You know, I don't buy green bananas. I never buy green bananas," meaning
Because you
live every
never
day.
know how many days you got left.
That's right.
Yep.
So
He was a great man and full of so many good stories, and the way he told stories was amazing, wasn't it? It was like listening to a book on tape every time he opened his mouth. He was really a great man.
yeah, it was. He was, and I have real regret for not getting him on a little sooner. He was on 2 previous episodes, so go back and listen to those. He believed in us way back when.
He did.
So,
And he called you Hammer
yep.
and me Steve.
Hello, Steve.
Let's thank our sponsors.
Yes, absolutely. Nomic Power Solutions.
Backup Power Generation, Jovi Belterra, 55 plus community,
South Star Bank.
and the Mallet Integrity Team, Real Estate
Team,
Professionals, of which Carlisle is now a part.
Yay.
Can you believe it?
So exciting.
We probably not as excited as us that
Really?
you trusted
I don't
us to
know.
come onto the team.
I am so excited to have another girl on the team
Yay.
that I can just we can gang up on Steve and beat him up in the
God,
hallway.
geez, not more of that.
We
Yeah.
can trip him in the hallway.
Yeah, we could trip him in the hallway.
do it.
You know what? When our glasses are dirty, we can use this shirt. And we can get
Poncho shirts have glass cleaners, folks, just in case you know. It's a fashion statement.
Is it?
It is a fashion statement.
I didn't know that. When I'm looking for shirts, I didn't know to look for glass cleaner.
I'm
in my
actually here
shirt.
for it. I think it's a pretty cool idea.
You're here for
Yeah,
it?
she said, yeah, you can tell you're old when you have glass cleaners built into your shirts. So. Stories today. Our guest, Jay Maselli.
yes,
He's
wow.
a former Army colonel. I was introduced to him through Javier Castaneda, whose wife, Yasmin, has been on the podcast.
Yes.
And
Forged in Mexico.
super interesting guy, West Point grad, 29 years in the Army. So he's going to come in here in a little bit and tell us all about what he's got going on and his history.
I didn't have to do a deep dive stalking of him because he's all over.
Yeah, he's a big deal.
He's
sounds
kind of a
like.
big
Yeah.
deal. for
Yeah.
sure.
So in the news, you've probably heard that Donald Trump was talking about the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
And suggested that maybe we should change the name to the Gulf of America.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I think it's a great idea because I think it's a power move against the current administration, which by the time this airs, it will no longer be.
Oh, hallelujah.
And
6 days.
yeah, 6
Yeah.
days. It is a power move because they banned drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, and so if he changes it to the Gulf of Americas, just
We can
Kaboom.
put more,
I don't know.
wells in there?
It's just all my TikTok knowledge.
which is all true.
So
if it's on
good.
TikTok, it is
It
true.
is true. It is true.
Did you see that Governor Abbott, shortly after Trump said that, suggested that, no, let's change it to the Gulf of Texas?
Oh,
I thought that was a pretty smart
but also,
idea.
How would Florida
Mexico
feel about that?
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah.
Mexico came out and said something. It was actually, it's been known on old maps as something else. Do you know what that was?
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't write it down, and it was in one of the articles I read. Here's a couple things about that. It's actually a pretty complex process to rename a major geographical feature that touches a bunch of countries. There's some organizations that have to agree to that, and of course the countries that are involved also have to agree to that name change. So I'm not sure Mexico would agree to that, but the U.S. Board on Geographic Names is the organization in the U.S. that when Biden changed the name of it's now Denali. What was it before? Mount McKinley to Denali in Alaska. The U.S. Board of Geographic Names was the one that oversaw that change, but they don't oversee changes in international geographical names. In 2012, a member of the Mississippi legislature proposed a bill to name the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. So this little rumor's been around for a while to change it to the Gulf of America.
I like Gulf of Michelle.
I bet you do.
Yeah, the Michelle waters.
Will you go down there and fix it when all those wells blow up?
I will say I will wash baby ducks in Dawn dish soap.
Do a photo op?
Happily.
No.
I will happily. I'll be the official duck washing person of.
I was reading an article in the USA Today, and they were talking about all this stuff about could it be named the Gulf of America. And in the middle of the article, USA Today said, could Donald Trump name it the Gulf of Trump? Which is nobody. Have you heard anybody say that, Carlisle?
No, I have not.
Well, so the USA Today did talk about gaslighting.
As if his ego is not big enough.
Well, but the whole point of this is nobody has suggested that. They wrote a whole paragraph on that a president can't name something after himself. You have to be dead for 5 years before something can be named after you.
Oh.
And I was like, but nobody suggested that but you, USA Today. You wrote an article about something you came up with. Right?
True.
So anyway, it's going to be interesting to see if he changes it or not. But I'm all for Gulf of America.
I think Gulf of America is pretty cool. Well, what is the news in the news right now that everyone is talking about and praying about and worrying about are these California fires. It
crazy.
is scary. I know by the time this airs, but within the next couple of days, they're expecting hurricane force winds. It could get worse. I am actually leaving for California Thursday.
Oh, that's right. San Diego, though, right?
I'm going to San Diego, and
I'm sure there'll be smoke down there.
Nope. The word on the street is because the Santa Ana winds are so
they'll
strong
blow 'em
right now,
out.
it's actually the
Yeah.
skies
Going the
are
other way.
quite beautiful. So I'm just, it's just awful. But let's think about this for a second. I don't know if you remember the Bastrop fires that happened.
I do.
The Wimberley fires that we had last year, they actually kind of hit really close to us. It was kind of scary in that sense. But let's say you had 10 minutes to evacuate your home, and that was all the notice you were given. I did see something on the Tik Tok yesterday, actually it was on the news, that a lot of people that were not home when the fire started, they were at work and they could not get
They
back
didn't even
in.
have a chance to get back
No,
home.
they didn't know. They didn't know this was all happening, and the origin of these fires. I'm hoping that we'll start to figure out what's going on. But let's say 10 minutes. Okay, so this is what you're supposed to prioritize. Obviously, people and pets. For sure.
Oh,
I'm not leaving.
That should go without saying,
Well, and
right?
people have
Grab
been
the
kind of
kids.
chastising people about, oh my gosh, I can't believe you left your dogs, but they were at work.
Yeah.
They were at work and they were trying to get back I saw this one reunion of this man after his house is decimated.
I saw that. Yeah.
With his
my
little
gosh.
dog.
Yes, and he's
Yes.
just jumping up and down with that little dog. Oh my gosh. So the second thing is important documents, which IDs, passports, social security cards, all of those are replaceable. But what a nightmare it is if you don't have your ID and you don't have your passport and your social security cards. This one I thought was kind of strange. They said your financials. Most everything is kind of available
It's
online.
all digital, yeah.
But I mean, you knew if you have a little book that you have your passwords in there, you probably should grab that as well. And then your legals. And now I want to ask you this question: do you need? Is that one of the things you should grab?
Like
Or your
the deed to your house?
your deeds and your titles? I know your wills, right? But I mean,
yeah,
you can make all that.
you should grab your wills because
but
usually
all that's available except the wills.
You can
Wills
put it all in the cloud. Like, in theory, I guess.
But,
you could.
let's say like you're 70, 80 years old, right?
Sure.
Or, me, Mom, and Papa, and they don't really have everything up in there. And I'm a paper person. I like paper stuff. So can you get your deeds and your titles? Okay,
yeah, all
so
that's
all
that's all
replaceable.
that's usually recorded against the property, and you can just get with the title
can get it
company,
all.
and they can pull it. But wills are different though,
Yeah.
because most of the
You
time
need a
they're
hard-
just signed and you stick them in a safe somewhere. You can't put them online, but then if you die, somebody that's living has to know where to go find them.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Well,
my
I
God.
also have seen videos of the safes that they said were fireproof safes, that they are melted, but some of them have survived, and the firemen are helping these people once they present their ID. They're
I
helping
tell
them
you,
get
one
in.
of the things that has blown me away is how hot these fires are. They're so
yeah.
they're burning.
It's like lava.
Fireproof safes. Yeah, it's because usually in a wildfire it'll move through a house pretty quickly, and the house will burn, but a lot of it's left standing because the fire moves through so quick. These things are just engulfed for hours. Yeah.
Well, again, you're going to talk about medications. That's not only for humans, but for also your pets, your electronics, your chargers, your laptops, etc. An emergency kit, which is interesting. So first aid, water, snacks, flashlight, also sentimental items that cannot be replaced. Photos. See, that's the thing I would go for first.
too.
I would go for the photos, the small mementos, those kind of. I would immediately. I remember when the Bastrop fires were happening, I was like, oh, I have some of my things in bins. That's probably one of the first things I would grab is that cash and credit cards, obviously. Who has cash anymore? And clothing. I saw an interview with this lady, and she said, I have lost everything. I have my children here, but I am wearing other people's clothes. I don't feel like myself.
I saw a guy, and he said he was grabbing a lot of those things you just mentioned, and he goes, I grabbed a half a dozen T-shirts, but I didn't grab any pants, and I didn't grab any underwear, and I didn't grab any shoes. So I was walking around in a fresh T-shirt with flip-flops on.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you got 10 minutes... 10 minutes seems like a pretty long time until you're running around your house looking and trying to decide, what should I throw in the car right now before I go?
That's true.
It goes by so fast.
Well, in theory, if you think about it, a house catches on fire. That house is on fire, and people grab what they can. But that house, they can go to their friend's house, their sibling's house, whatever house. In this situation, all of them are burning.
Yeah.
All of them.
So they don't even have
everything's on fire.
Like I could go to my brother's house and it's like a home to me, or my
Right.
mom's house. It's like home, right?
That's true. You can't go down to the neighbor's house and go, hey, can I camp out here for the night?
Can I
Yeah.
borrow some clothes?
I'm going to say something that's going to go way over your head. I know it is, but the real heroes right now, aside from the firefighters in the California disaster that's going on, is Heidi and Spencer Pratt. I don't know if you've been following this, but let me
Right
tell
over
you,
my head.
Spencer he's a early 2000s The Hills.
Laguna Beach.
Laguna Beach, yeah, they were reality stars, but he has been calling out the BS. She had a hit song back before, so people are now streaming it again to try to help them get money. He's like, look, not all celebrities have money. Like, they have 2 well-adjusted children. They're living in a rental house right now.
Wow.
And he's just he's using his platform right now for good, not evil. And, he's not like the Kim Kardashians where they have the money to hire private firefighters to protect their
For
their
$2,000
home.
an hour. is what it's
Paris Hilton was like, don't worry, we got all the art taken out.
Oh, yeah. Whoa.
Jeez.
Thank
Ooh.
goodness.
Oh,
thank you.
Got
But,
the Monet.
shout out to Spencer Pratt, for using his platform correctly, like how he should be using. And he went back to the rubble of his home, and he was so excited that he found this container, which was a cast iron skillet of some sort, or drum, that they made hummingbird feeder out of. And he was like, can you believe we found, and it was like the whole house is just in rubble, and he found this one thing that was just precious to
Yeah.
him. It's like, you just never know when you think about things that you're going to grab. And I've seen interviews of people saying, why didn't I grab this, or why didn't I grab that? Well, you know what, if your wife or your husband or your kids are sitting right next to you, grab the most important thing.
Yeah, once your family's taken care of, and then your pets, all the other stuff, honestly, it's just stuff. You want to protect as much of it as you can, but at the end of the day,
But I do.
People
I
are
do
the
get
most
it.
important
I do get the idea of you're wearing somebody else's clothes. I think it was Heidi yesterday. She posted something. She was at Marshall's, and she's like, "Oh, this is a cute sweater." And then she's in Marshall's, and she's like, I just miss my stuff. I know I just miss my stuff, and so I can.
It's got to
relate.
be traumatic. I've never had to go through that, but it's got to be traumatic.
So we got to pay attention, and I know there's a lot of little garble goo on the internet right now. But we are in the Texas Hill Country. We obviously don't have those Santa Ana winds, but cut your brush back. We're not as regulated as they are in California, and you can cut those cedars and you can cut that underbrush.
That's right.
So.
And do a burn pile when it's raining so that you can get rid of all that brush so it doesn't go up like a bomb.
Well, the problem is we have cedar here, so much cedar, and so people cut it, and then it sits in piles, right? And it dries. If that catches on fire, it burns so hot and so fast, all the oil in it.
Yeah, it goes off like a bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I have a story, and I'm not sure how to feel about this. Did you watch that movie on Netflix called Afraid? It's a new movie, and it's afraid, and the letters in the middle AI are red, so it's a movie about AI. It's basically this family gets this AI thing that comes into their house.
Oh, I've seen the previews for it. A woman, right?
Oh, is it a robot?
It's a robot.
Yeah.
It doesn't move, but it sits on a counter. It's like a giant Alexa, but it basically takes over their life and makes them servants of her, of this AI.
Oh.
So I won't want a big spoiler alert on that, but there's 2 companies that have just rolled out AI technology that you wear all day that listens to everything you say, everything you do.
You mean like this?
Well, yeah, but
iPhone?
yeah, sorta. But this does it intentionally with the idea that it's going to track your conversations, give you summaries of what you said, and a to-do list of things that you need to get done based on the words that have come out of your mouth.
Shame you?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's 2 companies. Which is BEAI, is a little yellow bracelet that you wear around your wrist, and it listens to everything. It is on all the time. I know.
It's going to know where the bodies are buried. It's going to know all the things.
No. Mine will quit after the couple of days. They're like, we get you.
Yeah.
We're done.
Pull this up on the internet here. It's OMI.
On the big screen?
Yeah, on the big screen. OMI is the other. This one's being billed as a personal assistant. OMI. Just search that and see if it comes up.
It's not OMI. It's OMA.
Right there. Top.
Okay. Thought to action.
Yeah.
Did you say
look at this picture. It's this little button thing that sticks on the side of your head.
What?
That listens to everything you do or say. Now, there's some legal things that are being talked about here.
How much is it?
Actually, that one is
$89.
It's $89. So, my question for you 2 is, if something that advanced is that cheap, who's the product? What's the product? The product is us. They're going to be getting all of our information and selling it all over the place.
Don't forget you have blood work today, Meemaw.
Yeah.
French
but look, how
girl
creepy
likes you.
is that looking? It makes this guy look like Frankenstein or a cyborg or something.
Well, you wouldn't want to even be near him.
No, I wouldn't. But from a legal standpoint, if you're sitting on the left side of this guy because it's on his right temple and you don't know that you're being recorded, I think in Texas you could do that, but in other states you got to know you're being recorded.
Yeah, because Texas is a one-party state, but that's just weird.
So the way they're getting around this is saying we don't actually record it. We're just taking the data that we hear and digesting it and making a list, and it's not safe. I know. Yeah.
That's weird.
I'm to the point now where I'm starting to think just because a technology exists, that doesn't mean we should accept it, right?
It says Omni will answer, knowing everything about you. No. Oh, hell no. I don't even want to know everything about me.
I know.
I don't even want to know.
I lock those things away for a reason.
I'm even surprised at the crap that comes out of my mouth sometimes.
But if this stuff would have come out 20 years ago, there's no way anybody would accept it. But they're making this idea that you would be surrounded by AI that listens to you 24/7 an acceptable thing.
Do you remember when the Furbies came out? The Furby?
Oh, yeah.
And you remember it recorded a whole meeting in Japan or whatever?
No.
It was the company that made it. I could be very off on this story, but it's generally.
That's okay. We make up stuff all the time.
Yeah, let's go with this. I'm going to act like I know what I'm talking about. It recorded secrets.
Really?
And it revealed them because that's what it would do. Same thing. Unknowingly could record what the codes are for the new,
geez.
think about that.
Yeah, think about that. If you were sitting next to somebody, if I whispered to you, so you got this Omni AI thing on, and I reach over to Carlisle and I say, Michelle is blah, 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 blah. She's a bitch. And the AI is going to repeat that back to you later because it's going to hear it. There's no secrets anymore.
No.
Oh, see, mine would quit. I'm telling you, mine would quit.
Yours would
be
break
like,
down.
I'm out.
The internet is broken. Michelle broke it.
You crazy.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of AI and everybody listening to you, you know that this whole TikTok ban has the universe in an uproar right now. And
do you do TikTok?
briefly, not like committed to it. But
Okay.
like I have people sent me videos.
So in the hierarchy
I don't
here,
make
it's
them.
me. I'm not on TikTok at all. You're kind of a medium
And
TikToker.
I'm going to be a TikTok refugee.
And Michelle is a TikTok expert and now refugee.
I'm going to be a refugee. So there is a reason for the ban. The ban is, the whole national security concern. Blah, 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 blah. ByteDance owns TikTok. They're trying to get them to sell off that portion because of these security concerns.
Say that three times fast.
Apparently, the apps won't support it anymore. So if there are any bugs, it won't support it. I don't know, whatever. But arguments against the ban, free speech, which is why I find things on TikTok that I won't find anywhere else. Economic impact, which there's a lot of people, the TikTok influencers that make money off of TikTok. The people also say there was lack of evidence. Skeptics claim there's no concrete proof of data misuse or malicious intent by TikTok, which I think is kind of funny. They're saying China is stealing your information. I've seen really funny videos of Chinese guys going, "Hello, I have been your TikTok spy for the last 2 years," and "Hello, Michelle from Texas," and that kind of thing. And then this global perception: the ban might strain international relationships and alienate younger users, which I think actually is true. It's interesting.
I think they will move on to something else.
So,
Okay,
fast
so
your
what
head will
is
spin.
what is the something else? Go.
Well, so I was getting my nails done last week, and there was 2 girls that go to DS High School, and I know one of the girls' mothers, and they were sitting there talking about how it's leaving, it's going away, and one of them, and these are like cheerleader girls, like like very social,
16, 17 years old.
and they were like, "I'm actually kind of glad because I'm quite addicted to it." The girls were saying that. And
Well, Kendall and I were joking around about it. Kendall told me, my daughter, she said, "How the hell am I going to raise this baby without TikTok?" We were joking around, and I said, "Does this mean I'm going to have to pay attention to your father now? Like, what is going on?"
Here's my thing and conspiracy theory. The thing about TikTok that I don't like is it gives there goes the tinfoil hat. It gives the Chinese government direct access to millions and millions of U.S. people to influence. You can't tell me TikTok is not influencing people's behavior, because
Really?
it totally does.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely
completely
You
does.
can't tell me that you're already not being influenced
Oh, I
on
know.
the other stuff that, like the Twitter and the Instagram Reels and the stories. And I mean, Instagram Reels are, Steve, I hate to break it to you. It's TikTok.
I'll tell you though, I don't think Instagram Reels are a good thing. I am constantly trying to stop myself from doing that.
Well, let me tell you what people are claiming that they're going to go to. And I honestly don't feel like TikTok's going to be banned. I think they're going to revamp it.
They'll
I think
work
they're
something
gonna,
out.
There were talks that Elon Musk is going to buy it. I don't think Elon Musk is going to buy it because he's going to hold a federal position in the Doge. So I think there's a big conflict of interest in that sense. But he may connect them to the right people. Okay, so the number one that people are talking about going to is called Red Note. It is actually the Chinese version of TikTok. And so I'm sure all of these Chinese people are waking up and going, "Why do I have all these American people on my For You page?" So it's the number one thing. There are some little nuances about it. Lemonade is another one of those. Lemonade is almost like if TikTok and Pinterest had a baby, it's Lemonade. But Lemonade is
that
also
sounds
owned
terrible.
by ByteDance, so that may be banned as well. There's also something called OWN, O-W-N. It's a pay-per-view. It hasn't launched yet, but there's a tremendous wait list for this. I don't like I'm not paying for nothing. Sorry, not doing it. There's something else called Fanbase. That's very similar to Instagram. You're just reinventing the wheel, right? Okay, so, but then the last one is Blue Sky Social.
I've heard of that.
That one's more like Twitter, which I think they were talking about the demographic age.
Is Blue Sky the one that all the Democrats said they were going to go to after Trump won the election, and they said they weren't going to be on Twitter anymore? I think that's
I don't know.
what I've heard.
I don't.
yeah.
I
I've never heard
mean,
of
we have like Mallet and Michelle now have an X account because when
Yeah.
Cooper Rummel was on, all the athletes are on there. So I pushed our platform out that way. It took me, I don't know, a week to figure out how to get another X.
And we've done
Yeah.
nothing with it since.
No, so sorry about that, but I probably have 3 followers, and it's
Yeah.
me, Todd, and Cooper.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is, but But yeah, there's so many social media. It's just the way of the world now. I mean, it's the way people communicate. It's the way people socialize. It's the way people date. It's the way people are getting their news. And whether you like it or not, it's the way of the world. What I really liked about TikTok was this. I used it almost like a search engine, and I've talked to you about this before, is that where Google, I felt like, would filter my stuff out. I could search something on like, for instance, the New Orleans horrific thing that happened on New Year's Day, right? I could search that. Where was it? What street? I'm not going to an MSNBC. I'm not going to a Fox. I'm not going to a CNN. I could search TikTok, and there was somebody on there that would show me the exact map on Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, exactly where it happened. Where was this ice chest found? Where was his truck? Oh, here's the surveillance video. It's not being filtered through legacy media, which I feel is dead and gone for this generation, and they need to suck it up. And they don't like the free speech.
I agree with that. 100% agree with that part of it. Well, I think where you could go wrong is because it's on TikTok does not mean it's true. Like I saw,
because it's on MSNBC does not mean it's true.
No, I agree. Hear me out.
No. But I do. I recognize that there's falsehoods out there.
Yeah.
You got to.
You just have to be. You have to be smart with what you.
Oh yeah.
What you take in on social media. I saw that video about the firefighters in California were putting out the fires with handbags that they took out of people's homes. Did you see that?
No. I saw one with a cone. They were showing. There was a video, and it's like the firefighters have no water, so they're scooping water out of people's pools in their handbags that they find in the houses and go putting out the fires. Like a Birkin bag.
Well, it turns out they actually do. One of the firefighter tools is a canvas bag that you can use to scoop water out of something and go pour it on a hot spot somewhere.
So they just assumed it was...
but the TikTok video was saying, "Oh my gosh, look at this horrible." So that's my point.
It's the same.
Take it in. It's okay. Be a little skeptical.
Well,
sometimes.
you also you have to know how to work TikTok, and the way that I have figured out how TikTok works for me is if I watch a video and it seems a little sketch, or is it AI, or is there something going on? Go through the comments, because there are people that are much smarter than I am, and through the comments you will find different avenues and different streets, and you want to turn right here, you want to turn left, you want to go straight.
Do you feel like that time you spend makes you smarter or more informed, better informed?
Yeah, I do. I feel like it does. Yeah, I do. I do struggle with the time limit. This is the year I'm reading more books, and so I'm trying to figure out, I don't have a parental timer like yours is, like social media.
Which is worthless.
Because actually, if someone tells me not to do something, I'm going to do it more.
Yeah.
But, I do. I feel like sometimes you can just go to this doom scrolling and chair rot and just continue going.
That's the problem.
But I'm like, okay, I'm going to be on it for 30 minutes. I'm going to search this, and I'm going to search this.
See, it's for me, it's a little like playing video games. When I was younger and I'd play video games, I'd go, I'm going to play video games for an hour. And 8 hours later, I'd be, pull myself up off the couch.
Brain rot.
They had video games when you were a kid? What was it like?
Yeah, it was this little pong thing. Bing, bing, bing. Yeah,
Kick the can? Geez. Was that a video game? Was the first video game?
Kick the can. Yeah, that's the one. So, well, you know what? It's going to be interesting to see what happens with TikTok. I don't know if it's going away. I kind of feel like it won't. I think maybe it's just a big pressure thing.
Why haven't the U.S. just started their own TikTok?
It's a good question.
Well, that's all these other platforms here. I don't know. I mean, maybe.
Well, I think they are. I mean, Instagram's tried to.
Yeah.
If Instagram could take over TikTok, not take over the company, but take over that market share, they would do it in a heartbeat. But I don't think they can.
The short video form is not going anywhere. It is not, and I have to be really honest with you. When TikTok first started, I thought, what was the thing before TikTok? Vine. Do you remember Vine?
Oh my God, I do.
My kids would do Vines, and they'd have these inside jokes, and they still go, "Oh, it's an avocado," and I have no idea where that came from, but they say it to each other all the time.
Is Snapchat still a thing?
Yeah, but for younger. But I was on Snapchat. I took it off.
Is a scary one. I think a lot of parents have chimed in on that.
I just took that off.
Sometimes I wonder, is the upside of all this bigger than the downside of all this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, what is the upside? So we just go back? Who's pushing it? And there's a whole thing about
Back to the little rotary phone.
No.
Hey, Carlisle, it's
my
Steve.
what is the thing?
Dial the wrong number, you got to start all over again.
Yeah.
Have you heard of manufacturing consent? Have you ever heard of that book? And you and I have kind of in a roundabout. We never gave it a label, but they manufactured something, and therefore now you were giving them their consent to do it. Right? So think about TikTok. The narrative is the legacy media is pushing the Chinese are stealing your data. The Chinese are stealing your data. Well, you don't need to be getting your news from there. You need to be getting it from trusted, reliable
from
sources.
us, yeah.
And so it's manufactured. So like you think about COVID, for instance, right? Oh, half the population is going to go away and we're all going to die from this. And therefore, shut your businesses down, wear a mask, and don't see your grandma as she's dying. That's like the extreme example. But people on TikTok are talking or circling back to this manufactured consent in regards to the TikTok ban. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays
what
out.
happens. All right. Well, we need to take a quick little break and get Jay Maselli in here and talk to him a little bit about what he's got going on. So sit tight. We'll be right back. Awesome.